When people talk about love, connection, and bonding, they often describe it as something magical, something mysterious, something we can feel but cannot fully explain. Yet modern science has shown us that behind the poetry of love, there is also chemistry. And one chemical in particular has earned the nickname the love hormone. Its name is oxytocin. Oxytocin is a small molecule, but it carries enormous influence over human behavior and relationships. It is produced in the hypothalamus, a tiny structure deep within the brain, and released by the pituitary gland. Though it may sound like just another scientific term, oxytocin is at the very heart of what makes us human. It shapes how we bond with others, how we trust, how we care, and even how we fall in love. To understand oxytocin, imagine it as nature's glue, a chemical designed to pull people closer together. It is released in moments of intimacy, whether that intimacy comes from a mother holding her newborn child, two lovers sharing a kiss, or friends embracing after a long time apart. Each of these moments floods the brain and body with oxytocin, creating a sense of safety, warmth, and closeness. One of the most well-known roles of oxytocin is in childbirth and breastfeeding. During labor, oxytocin surges, triggering contractions and helping bring new life into the world. After birth, it helps the mother's body produce milk, but even more importantly, it strengthens the emotional bond between mother and child. This bond is one of the most powerful in human existence, and oxytocin plays a central role in creating it. It is nature's way of ensuring that love and care flow naturally between parent and baby. But oxytocin is not limited to mothers and infants. It influences all kinds of human connections. When you hold hands, hug, or spend quality time with someone you care about, your body releases oxytocin. And in those moments, you feel calmer, more connected, more trusting. This is why oxytocin has often been called the hormone of trust. Scientists have studied oxytocin's effects in fascinating experiments. In some studies, participants who inhaled oxytocin through a nasal spray were more likely to trust strangers with money in a game. They were more cooperative, more forgiving, and more willing to engage in social bonding. In other words, oxytocin opens the door to trust, helping humans build the social connections that are so essential for survival. Think about how important this is. Without trust, relationships crumble. Without trust, communities break apart. Oxytocin, in many ways, is nature's tool for social harmony. It helps people come together, not just romantically, but socially. It is part of why we crave connection, why we gather in families, groups, and societies. Of course, oxytocin is not just about trust. It is also about love and attachment. When people fall in love, their oxytocin levels often rise. The butterflies you feel when you are near someone you adore are not just in your imagination. They are fueled by a complex cocktail of brain chemicals, with oxytocin playing a starring role. It deepens the bond between partners, reinforcing feelings of closeness and intimacy. Oxytocin is also connected to physical touch. A hug that lasts more than a few seconds can trigger a noticeable rise in oxytocin levels, calming the nervous system and reducing stress. This is why being held when you are upset feels so comforting. It is not only emotional, it is biological. Your body literally releases a hormone that soothes you and helps you feel safe. And it goes even deeper. Oxytocin has been shown to reduce levels of cortisol, the stress hormone. That means oxytocin is not just about bonding. It is about healing. It helps regulate stress, lower blood pressure, and even support the immune system. In a very real sense, love and connection make us healthier, not just happier. But here is where it gets even more fascinating. Oxytocin is not always simple. It is not only about warm and fuzzy feelings. Research has shown that while oxytocin increases trust and bonding within groups, it can also strengthen the boundaries between groups. In other words, oxytocin helps us feel closer to those we love, but it may also make us more cautious or defensive toward outsiders. This dual effect shows us that biology is complex. The same chemical that creates closeness can also reinforce division. Still, the positive power of oxytocin is undeniable. Think of the role it plays in long-term relationships. Couples who touch often, who hold hands, who embrace regularly, usually report stronger bonds and higher satisfaction. Oxytocin is part of why every small touch releases a dose of connection, reinforcing the love between two people over time. It is also central in friendships. When you laugh with a friend, when you share secrets, when you hug goodbye, your body is rewarding you with oxytocin. It is reminding you that human connection is valuable, that relationships are worth nurturing. It is part of why loneliness feels so painful, because without regular social contact, oxytocin levels drop, and the body feels deprived of one of its most essential nutrients. Modern life sometimes makes us forget this. In a world where digital screens replace physical presence, where texts replace hugs, and where we often live far from loved ones, oxytocin levels can suffer. This is why even small acts of physical and emotional connection, like calling a friend, sharing a laugh, or sitting close to someone you love, become vital. They are not luxuries, they are biological necessities. What is even more beautiful is that oxytocin connects not just humans, but also humans and animals. Anyone who has ever had a dog or a cat knows the feeling. When your pet curls up beside you, when you stroke their fur, oxytocin is released in both your body and theirs. Science has confirmed this. Mutual bonding between humans and pets is fueled by oxytocin. It is why the relationship feels so deeply real. Now let's take a moment to reflect. Oxytocin is not just a hormone, it is a story written into our biology. A story of survival, connection, and love. For humans to thrive, we needed to bond with our families, our partners, our groups. Oxytocin made that possible. Without it, trust would falter, mothers might not bond as deeply with children, lovers might not feel the same closeness, friendships might not carry the same weight. It is not an exaggeration to say that without oxytocin, human civilization as we know it could not exist. Yet, as powerful as oxytocin is, it is not magic. It is not the sole reason we love, trust, or bond. Love is still complex. It is influenced by culture, personality, experience, and choice. But oxytocin gives us the foundation, the chemistry that makes those higher human experiences possible. It is like the soil in which the flower of love grows. The science of oxytocin is still unfolding. Researchers are discovering new roles for it every year. Some studies suggest it may play a part in empathy, allowing us to feel the emotions of others more deeply. Others suggest it could have therapeutic uses, helping people with social anxiety, autism spectrum disorders, or even depression. By boosting the brain's natural pathways of connection, oxytocin may hold keys to healing not just individuals, but society as a whole. And yet, perhaps the most profound lesson oxytocin teaches us is something we already knew deep in our hearts, that love and connection are not luxuries. They are fundamental to who we are. Our brains and bodies are wired for it. Our survival depends on it. Our happiness depends on it. So the next time you hug someone you care about, the next time you share a laugh, the next time you hold hands or comfort a friend, remember that something remarkable is happening beneath the surface. Your body is releasing oxytocin, your brain is strengthening bonds, your heart is being soothed, and all of this is nature's way of saying, love matters, connection matters, you are not meant to walk this life alone. In the end, oxytocin is not just the love hormone, it is the chemistry of trust, the biology of bonding, the silent force that turns strangers into friends, partners into lovers, parents into caretakers, and communities into families. It is the reminder that love is not only felt, it is built into our very cells. And by nurturing it through kindness, touch, presence, and care, we unlock one of the greatest gifts of being human.